Hey, how you doing, guys? This is Will here. Another fight card this weekend. UFC 157 from California. We have a huge fight for the UFC. First women's fight ever in the UFC. We have Ronda Rousey defending her title against Liz Carmouche. Both girls coming on from Strikeforce after the contracts and that Strikeforce folded. So this is going to be the first fight and the headline and a big card, a very solid card as well. Lots of good fights. So we're just going to get straight into it. We're going to start right at the bottom of the card. We're going to go with it's Nishon Barrel against Yuri Villafort. Two guys I don't know much about. Both come over from Strikeforce. Um, Barrel he fought three times in Strikeforce. He lost to Chris Spang last time out. He loves to bang. He's got a few KOs in his record. 8-2 I think his record is. So not too bad. A young fighter against Villafort, who's coming out on Imperial Athletics, and he lost his last fight to Quinn Mulhern. So I don't really know much here, but I'm going to go with the knockout artist. I'm going to go with Nashon Barrel by KO first or second round. Next up, we've got a couple of guys who won last year's Tough. We've got John Manley against Neil Magny. Both lost in the semis, if I remember right. Manley lost to the eventual winner in Colton Smith, and Neil Magny lost to Mike Ricci. Kind of tough fight to call. You only really seen him in the show. John Manley beat one of the guys I liked on there, and James Cheney. I like Cheney. I follow him on Twitter. I've spoke to him a few times, and he's quite a good guy. So I was pulling for him, but tough fight. I like Magny. I think he's just gonna to get the decision. I think it's gonna go one of these fights that it could kind of be quite boring maybe because they're both going to look for the decision. But I like Magny. Not by much. It could go either way this fight. It's hard to really tell. Next up we've got Kenny Roberts against Brock Jardine. Second fight in the UFC for Brock Jardine. He fought Rick Story. I think he came in a few weeks' notice. I can't remember who fell out. I think he comes out the pit team, Chuck Liddell's old team. So yeah, I think he's this fight I don't really know much about. Kenny Robertson. It's his third fight in the UFC. He got KO'd by Mike Pierce, and he lost to Aaron Simpson by decision. I think I remember right. So it's a kind of tough fight to call this, considering I haven't seen that much of them. I think I'm going to go for Brock Jardine, just for the fact that his name's Brock. I don't know. I think he's going to get a decision here. So next up, we've got Sammy Stout against Carlos Fedor. Sam Stout, this is his 15th fight in the UFC. He's been here quite a wee while. I think he's about 7-7, so he's about even wins and losses in the UFC. He's had some really good fights. He's got the trilogy with Spencer Fisher. He's got the one punch knockout of Eve Edwards, which was cracked him right in the chin and he was fucking out. He's lost to fighters like Kenny Florian and Jeremy Stevens, but he beat Matt Wyman, so he's beat some good fighters, and he's lost a few other ones as well. So, but he's got that one punch power. If he hits you in the chin, you're gonna go to sleep. So we'll just have to see how he is against Fedor. I think this is his first fight since coming off from Strikeforce. He had a big fight in his last fight against Pat Healy. He got submitted. So that was a big fight. Pat Healy's a veteran of the sport. He's fought a lot of fighters and big fighters. Maybe not got the title shot that he deserved against Melendez as well. But I'm going to go with... this is a tough fight for me to pick. Maybe just Sam Stout. Not by much. I think Fedor give him a decent fight, but I think Sam Stout's going to get a decision win. Next up, we've got Dennis the Menace. I think his nickname is Bermudez against Matt Grice. I actually really like Dennis Bermudez. Watching him fight, he's a really good fighter to watch. He was in a war with Brandao in the final of Tough. He was on Tough a few years ago. I think it was Team Mayhem and Team Bisping. He got to the final. I think he hurt Brandao, and Brandao caught him in an armbar and took home the spoils. He's beat a couple of fighters. He beat Tommy Hayden. He beat Pablo Garza, which is a very good win. So yeah, Matt Grice, he's an NCAA one wrestler, I think, at Oklahoma years ago. Second stint in the UFC, and his last fight he won against Leonard Garcia, which was kind of, it went to decision, and Leonard Garcia loses a lot of decisions, so he maybe should have won that, but yeah, so I don't know. I think Dennis Bermudez is going to handle this guy fairly easy. He's going to get a submission in there somewhere, and he's going to take home the win. He's going to move up the division. Next up, we've got Tough 15 winner, Michael Chiesa. Now, this guy had a really tough time on the show, right at the start of the show. He lost his father, and it was quite emotional. It's one of the most emotional things we've ever seen in Tough. And he went on and he won the show, which was, I think it was kind of written in the stars he was going to do that. He's fighting out of Team Alpha Male at the minute out of Sacramento. He's a submission artist. If he gets you down the ground, he'll put you to sleep. He did that to Ali Aquinta in the final. So yeah, I think he's got a really decent fight here. He's against Anton Koivunen from Finland, 18-5 record. Fights out at AT American Top Team. And his last win was at UFC 149 against Mitch Clark. So yeah, this fight, I think this is a really good fight for Michael Chiesa to come into the UFC and showcase his skills. I think he'll get him down and he'll submit him. But a big fan of Michael Chiesa. I think he's going to do some good things in the UFC. So yeah. Next up, we've got Brendan Schaub against LeVar Johnson. This, I think, could be nasty for Brendan Schaub. He's coming off two big KO losses to Big Nog and Ben Rothwell. LeVar Johnson hits hard. We've seen that in his wins over Joey Beltran, and he knocked out, I think he knocked out Beltran, and he knocked out Pat Barry as well. So this guy hits really hard. Lost his last fight to Stefan Struve. Came in on 10 days notice. So not the easiest thing ever, but he got submitted fairly easily by an armbar. He kind of started, he threw some shots, he got caught, he got taken. I think he tried to maybe slam Struve, and he left his arm in there, and he got submitted. Fairly easy, but I don't think this is a really good fight for Schaub. He's a tough finalist. He got knocked out by Big Country a few years ago. I think he's got a bit of glass chin, and it's not a good thing in MMA, especially when you're fighting, LeVar Johnson. So I'm going to go with LeVar Johnson here by a knockout. I can just see him catching him with an uppercut. He's got some nasty uppercuts as Johnson, so I think he's going to take him out by knockout. Next up, we've got the guy that everybody kind of loves to hate, and Josh Koscheck. I'm not his biggest fan. I don't think he's got many fans, but he's against Robbie Lawler, who's coming back to the UFC. This is Lawler's first fight in the UFC in 8.5 years. The kid came out years ago and put on some really exciting fights. These ones with Nick Diaz, it was a great KO. Nick Diaz got him with, but he hurt Diaz as well, and he just got caught. He's been in Strikeforce for a few years. He fought Manhoef. That was a really great fight. He was getting his ass kicked by Melvin Manhoef, kicking his legs out, and he just catches him with a big right hand, takes him out. I think he fought about 8 or 9 times in Strikeforce, and he lost more than he won. So this is a big fight for Robbie Lawler coming back into the UFC. And we all know what Koscheck's like. Koscheck is a really strong wrestler. And his striking has improved over the years, and he's really tough to fight. He's had a chance at the title. He's fought some big guys in the division. He's coming off a loss, I think, to Johnny Hendricks a while back. So yeah, it's a big fight for Koscheck to get back in the win column. I think he'll do this fairly easily against Robbie Lawler. I think he might get a submission win here. If not, he'll get an easy decision win. Next up, we've got Court McGee against Josh Neer. I think this is one of the fights in the main card. I think we're in the main card now, sorry. This is his welterweight debut for Court McGee. He was up at middleweight. He's lost his last 2 fights. His last one out against Nick Ring was a bit kind of controversial. I think it was in Canada. They gave him the decision. He's from the Pit team as well. A tough fight he's got here, going down to welterweight. He's facing Josh Neer. Josh Neer's lost his last 2 as well. He's got KO'd and he's got submitted. I think he got KO'd by Mike Pyle, and he got subbed by let me think, Justin Edwards, I think it was. So yeah, I think if he loses this, he'll get cut. He's been cut before. He's brought back. I think he's gonna. I think Court McGee's gonna eke out a decision here. So yeah, he's a tough winner as well. It's Court McGee. He's quite a scrap. I actually really like watching Court McGee. He's had some hard times a few years back before Tough. So I was kind of rooting for him in the show, and he's did well. And he's won a few fights. He's lost a few. So hopefully he'll do well down at welterweight. Next up, we've got Uriah Faber against Ivan Menjivar. I'm quite a big Uriah Faber fan. I've watched him for years. I was a big fan of him years ago when he first came out. I've got a lot of shirts there that I bought when he came out. He's a former WC featherweight champion. His last fight he lost for the interim UFC title. He lost to Barrow fairly convincingly, to be honest with you. He didn't really do much. Barrow just kind of tossed him around and played with him a little bit. But yeah, Uriah Faber, I'm a fan. I hope he wins this fight. I think he will win the fight, and I think he might do it by submission. I'm actually quite a fan of Team Alpha Male. I know they get a lot of shit, but I like some of the fighters, and I'm a big fan of TJ Dillashaw and stuff as well. So yeah, Ivan Menjivar, he's fought for years. He fought GSP, I think about his 4th or 5th fight years ago. And he's beat some good fighters as well. He beat Joe Lozon. He faced Matt Serra as well. Fighting out of TriStar in Montreal, 25-8 or 9 record, if I remember reading earlier on. His last win was he won by armbar against Gashimov. Close fight. I think it could go to decision, but I like Faber by submission. Next up, we've got Leo Machida, former UFC light heavyweight champion, against Dan Henderson. And he is the former Pride welterweight and middleweight champion, and as well as Strikeforce light heavyweight champion. He beat Fedor, did Henderson. He's faced the true elite of the sport, a very powerful striker. Went to the Olympics a few times for Greco-Roman wrestling. And Machida, his last win was against Ryan Bader. He knocked him out. He's a 3rd degree black belt in Shokotan Karate, as well as Jiu-Jitsu as well. So yeah, he's fought a lot of fighters as well. He fought Shogun, BJ Penn, Bonner, Rich Franklin, Rashad Evans, and he's won most of those fights as well. So this fight, I'm actually going to go for Leo Machida. I think he's going to wear Dan Henderson out, and Henderson's going to just try and throw that big strike and catch him. I think he's just going to be too elusive. He's going to stick, move, get in and out, hit him with shots, and hopefully not get taken down. So I'm going to go for the upset here for Machida. And then next up, we've got Ronda Rousey against Les Carmouche. Ronda Rousey, undefeated. I think she's 6-0, 7-0 maybe, with 6 or 7 arm bars. Former medalist at the Olympics in Beijing against Carmouche, who was in the Marines. She's only lost to kind of champions and Marlos Kunin and Sarah Kaufman. So yeah, I think this is a good fight for Ronda Rousey. I think Carmouche is going to be aggressive. She's going to clinch, she's going to take her down, and she's going to submit her again. So, as I say, that's going to be my picks for this weekend. Rousey to defend her title that she got. So if you like this video, give me a like, share my video with other MMA fans out there. Come follow me on Twitter, BigBilber7MMA. And as I say, enjoy the fights this weekend. A really good solid card. I'll be back for the Japan card soon. So enjoy the fights, and speak to you soon. See you later.